What if I told you that everything you post, everything you share, everything you say online was being analyzed by an AI to generate a single score, a score that decides just how credible you are? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, a concept called networked credibility. So let me ask you a question. Who do you actually trust online? I mean, think about it. You've got creators, news outlets, those top search results. It's a sea of competing voices. The old ways we used to figure out who's trustworthy, they're getting fuzzier and fuzzier. Now, what if those different streams of info, that influencer review, that big news headline, the first thing that pops up when you search, what if they aren't separate at all? What if, behind the scenes, an AI is constantly connecting the dots between them, building one single unified picture of what's credible? And that really gets to the heart of the problem, what many are calling the online trust crisis. We're all trying to navigate this massive, confusing ocean of information, and honestly, it's a huge challenge. We're all swimming in it, right? You see news reports that completely contradict each other. You read reviews and you can't tell if they're real or just a paid ad. Your search results feel, well, engineered. It's like the digital Wild West out there, and most of the time you're just left feeling overloaded, not knowing what's actually real. But what's emerging from all this chaos is a brand new system. One that's being built to bring some kind of order by completely changing how we measure trust. And it's a system that's leaving the old traditional gatekeepers of information in the dust. At its core is this idea of networked credibility. So let's break that down. Basically, it's a system where how trustworthy you are isn't judged by just one thing you say or do. Instead, an AI is analyzing your entire digital footprint, every connection you have, every statement you make, and how much influence you have across the whole web. So you see what's happening? We're shifting from the old way of thinking, where trust came from big institutions and expert credentials. Now we're moving to a system that's driven by algorithms. It means your credibility isn't just about your resume anymore. It's about your entire online behavior and consistency, all interpreted by a machine. Okay, so how does this AI engine actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how these algorithms are building this whole new reality. Right, so artificial intelligence is the engine driving this whole thing. It's the processor that's working 24/7, connecting the dots between, say, an influencer's post, a news report on the same topic, and where both of those things show up in your search results. It pretty much boils down to a four-step process. First, the AI scans, and I mean it hoovers up a mind-boggling amount of content. Then it analyzes. It's not just reading words, it's picking up on the emotional tone, the sentiment, and the overall story being told. Third, it ranks all that information, looking at who's citing it and how consistent the message is. And finally, it synthesizes all of that data, pulls it all together into one single, constantly updating picture of someone's credibility. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The system isn't just looking at one thing in isolation. It's performing this massive, network-level analysis of the entire web of conversation that's happening around an idea or person. So where does all this lead? What's the end game of all this scanning and analyzing? Well, it all builds towards one very powerful thing, the unified reputation score. The whole point is to take this huge, messy, tangled web of online information and boil it all down into one simple, easy-to-understand metric. And boom, there it is, a single number. This score could become a new kind of digital currency. It makes the very abstract idea of trust into something tangible, something you can literally count, creating a very clear pecking order of who gets seen and heard. Honestly, the best way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like a credit score, but for trust. You know how a financial credit score tells a bank if you're reliable with money? Well, this score would tell the entire digital world if you're reliable with information. So you're probably wondering what actually goes into this score. Well, the key things are consistency, who's vouching for you, and your network. If you keep your message consistent across platforms and you get cited by other high-scoring sources, your score goes up. But on the flip side, contradict yourself or even just associate with networks that have a low score, and your number gets dragged down. Okay, let's bring this all home. Why should you care about this? How could one little number actually end up shaping your digital world? Well, just take a look at this. Your score could directly decide how visible you are. With a low score, you're practically a ghost online, buried deep in search results, lost in the social media feeds. But a high score? You're on the main stage, front and center in every conversation. And don't think for a second that this would just stay online. Imagine a world where this score could influence your ability to get a loan because an algorithm decides your online presence is unstable.
or where it could affect your job prospects, all because you were flagged for being associated with low credibility networks. This is a future where your digital reputation has huge, real-world consequences.
Which leaves us with the biggest, most critical question of all. In a world where an AI gets to be the ultimate judge of truth and reputation, who gets to judge the AI? That's the question we all really need to start thinking about.